Chase for the playoffs is on end of August. Red Bull will be down in Charlotte to take on one of the hottest teams right now in Major League Soccer. 6 league wins in a row. Will, appreciate you coming on. I think some would have thought, okay, no more Patrick Achaman. What's going to happen to Charlotte? They've been lights out overall. Offensively, very, very good. Talk to us a little bit about what maybe the transition period has been and why it's gone so well.
Well, I think the thing is, Matt, it's come in different waves. We obviously had Patrick Agyemang earlier on in the season, and then the Pep BL resurgence has kind of been over different bits and spurts. He was great earlier in the year, had a hamstring injury, took a couple of weeks after that to get that healed, and then he really kind of burst onto the scene. And then after his injury, we've seen Edon Toklamati continue to spring to life as well. He's got a goal contribution in each of his last 4 league contests, and also with 6 goals in his last 10 games and 7 of his last 11 in all competitions. So it really is something to behold in terms of where the offense has come. And it's honestly something we haven't seen across our history. Usually we've been talking about, playing good defense, being very, very tough to beat, and then trying to nick a 1-0 victory or a 2-1 out of things. Obviously, over the last couple of weeks without Pep BL, it's maybe looked a little bit more like that, particularly when you think about the victories over Cincinnati as well as last week against Real Salt Lake. But at the same point in time, there has been more scoring. They're going to break their single-season scoring record before the end of the season, provided that they don't get clean-sheeted in the final 7 games of the year. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how that really increases once Pep BL is back, because the one thing, unfortunately, Matt, is that we really haven't been 100% fully healthy for the entire year. If we get one guy back, one guy goes down. We had Nathan Byrne out for a very, very long time. That affected the defense significantly. And now with him back, they lose Pep BL. So it's interesting to see how come the stretch run, provided that Pep BL gets back here pretty soon.
Defense, though, has been good, Will, as of late. Back-to-back shutouts. You said Cincinnati, Real Salt Lake, 3 if you count the last game of the Leagues Cup, 3 league games as well if you go back to before the Leagues Cup. Has that group been cohesive, injuries notwithstanding?
It has been cohesive, but again, I think it's also putting in better players into the mix. Mentioned Nathan Byrne. He returned from what was a pretty significant injury. He had disc replacement surgery in his neck. Pretty painful stuff that had been bothering him since the early part of the season. He missed about 3 months or so with that injury. He didn't come back until the beginning of the League Cup. They've been building him up to match fitness. He just played his first 90-minute match against Real Salt Lake last weekend, so it's great to see him back in there. And they just added a brand new left back in Harry Toffolo, who made his club debut last weekend off the bench against Real Salt Lake. They've been building up his match fitness. We'll see how much he can go in what we assume will be his first MLS start on Sunday. And the center back pairing of Tim Ream and Adilson Malanda has really stabilized things as well. Ream, of course, the U.S. international, former New York Red Bull man, and Malanda, who just got himself a ticket to Middlesbrough after the international window, or after the transfer window concludes here, and after the season concludes, he'll go to Borough. Thankful that Borough will loan him back to us to have him finish the season. But that group has really stabilized things. After having somewhere between 14, 15 different back lines, it looks like they now have their first choice back line for the stretch run. Yeah.
Will, just curious if there's any thought whatsoever on Malanda, with him knowing that he's going to be leaving at the end of the year, that from a mentality side of things, that he is not fully vested. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just curious because he's a guy who knows that this is going to be his last year in Major League Soccer.
Well, honestly, man, I honestly think it might help him, because this has kind of been a cloud that's been hanging over him over the better part of the last 1 to 2 months. And I even think that it had affected part of his play in May and June. There were a couple of uncharacteristic mental errors that took place in games, a couple of giveaways, and the rumors were very much circulating around that time. PSV Eindhoven was involved. Norwich had come in. I saw another report that Club Brugge, everybody had seemed to be kind of tugging at him, and he even said, hey, I can only control what I can control in this moment, which is trying to play good soccer. And I think, honestly, having this a little bit of clarity going forward for him might actually help him somewhat, recalibrate and refocus. And again, he's been very, very good as of late. I think honestly, this helps him knowing that all that transfer business is over with. He now knows where his next opportunity is going to be, and I think also it'll be an opportunity to make sure that he's going into that in January when he joins Burrow in good form.
Finish with this one. The city behind this team right now. I mean, the crowd's always fun. I know in Charlotte, usually people come out, but now that the team is having this success at this point of the year, starting to get a little bit more attention.
It honestly has been such an EKG year, Matt, and I think people in the middle part of the year were kind of wondering, okay, where's the buy-in going to come, and where is it going to come? But I think people are really starting to latch on to this team. I know that Wilfred Zaha brings a lot of excitement as well for some people. Toklamati has become a new fan favorite with the way that he's played. And I think also so much of what we've seen over the course of the last couple of years is that we do see that kind of burgeoning and building up toward the end of the year. I think the fact that you're going to play four of your final seven contests in MLS will all be at Bank of America Stadium. It allows this to be a kind of a rising to the crescendo. Of course, we've got games, not only a standalone game on Sunday night, but we also have Inter Miami waiting in the wings in September, and then decision day against Philadelphia. These are all high profile matches that are left for Charlotte FC, including this Sunday, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Points at a premium should be fun. Well, thanks for coming on. Give me a couple minutes. Look forward to seeing you over the weekend.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you.